Hi guys, welcome back to Bloom TV. Today it's Annie and I have a kind of special add-on video that I'm going to do this week. And this is something that I wanted to do at the end of November but didn't get time to do. And it's a Christmas recommendations, kind of wintry recommendations video. So loads of books that you could read that might get you in the Christmassy mood, or if you don't celebrate at Christmas, something that might get you in the holiday mood. And I have one, two, three, four, five, 6 books here, and one of them's kind of a little add-on which I don't really feel is Christmassy, but I feel it's quite wintry, and it's even got winter in the title, so you know, it's got on with it. And the first 2 books I have are really popular ones that you'll probably already think, Annie, why are you even showing these? Everyone knows about them. But I thought I'd put them in. One of them I've read and one of them I haven't read, and you probably can already guess what they are, but they're 2 short story collections. And the first one is Let It Snow, and this is like such a metallic cover and I really love it. And this has 3 holiday romances in, one is by John Green, one by Maureen Johnson, and one by Lauren Miracle. And these all kind of interweave to form one story, but they're all very much separate stories. You really, say if you don't really want to read all of them, you could just read one of them, but I would recommend reading all 3. I read this last Christmas and really enjoyed it. I think my favourite might have been the very first one, which is the Maureen Johnson one. And I think I didn't enjoy the other 2 as much, but I really enjoyed the Maureen Johnson one. The only author who is featured in this is John Green, and he's the only one that I've actually read any other actual full-length novels of. And I am not the biggest fan of John Green. I know a lot of people really love him, and he's one of their favourite authors, and I do really like him. I really love his channel, even that he has with Hank, but I'm not a big fan of his novels as such. I did really enjoy them, I just didn't love them as much as other people. But I did really like this collection, and it's really lovely and festive, and they're very obviously unique stories, as they would be if they're in this collection. And the next kind of collection is one that I mentioned in my December TBR, and it's so popular at the moment, and it is My True Love Gave to Me, 12 Winter Romances, and this is edited by Stephanie Perkins. And as I said in my other video, which I filmed today, which is why I'm in the same clothes, this has 12 stories, and I'm just going to quickly list the authors, and that's Holly Black, Ali Carter, Matt de la Pena, Gail Foreman, Jenny Han, David Leatherton, Kelly Link, Myra McIntyre, Stephanie Perkins, Rainbow Rowell, Lainey Taylor and Kirsten White. And this is such a lovely book. This is like the lovely back, which says long cold nights are meant for falling in love, and oh, I just really love this edition, and it has one of these ribbon markers, which is just so snazzy. And I will definitely be reading these, and as I said in my December TBR, I'm going to be reading these off for like the 12 days of Christmas, so I'm going to be reading 1 per day, because that's kind of how I like to do things, and I don't want to read it all in one big rush. So yeah, and that will make me really excited for Christmas, so I really hope I enjoy this. And then the next book I have is one of my actual childhood favourites, and I've never really heard anyone talk about it on BookTube, or kind of in general when I grew up. Like this, I would think I was the only like kind of family that had this, and it is The Christmas Mystery by Justine Gardner. And I love this edition. It's really like blue, and it's got this kind of like really nice illustrations on, and they have these illustrations throughout. And this is a book which is separated into like days of the month, and it's got like there's chapters, and you can kind of read it as one book, but it kind of follows an advent calendar format. And this kind of centres, it's very, as it says The Christmas Mystery, and it's a bit of a mystery story, and it follows, not Sophie. Sophie's the other one. Justine Gardner wrote a really, really famous philosophical novel called Sophie's World, and I always think the character in this is called Sophie, and it's not. This is Elizabeth, and there's kind of 2 interweaving storylines, and I haven't read this for quite a few years, because I used to read it when I was younger. My parents would read this to me every Christmas. It is a tradition in my family. We haven't done it for the past, I haven't done it for the past like maybe 2 years, because I always forget about it, but I'll just read this. I'm going to get so confused about this plotline, but basically one day Elizabeth, while Christmas shopping with her mother, vanishes into thin air, and you don't really follow Elizabeth's storyline, but Elizabeth meets up in she is in Bethlehem, and she kind of travels with a group of angels, shepherds, kings, a lot of different characters, and even a Roman governor. And then 50 years later, a boy called Joachim, I cannot pronounce his name. I never have been able to. He buys an advent calendar from this old shop and is trying to piece together the mystery of Elizabeth and what happened to her, and he buys this advent calendar and it tells her story, and a little piece of paper falls out from the advent calendar and it kind of pieces together the story, and there's two interweaving storylines. It's so brilliant. I am not doing this book justice. It's a children's book, but it's really wonderful, and I just can't recommend it highly enough. And I'd just like to point out, if you can get this edition, I'm not sure if it's still in print, but if you can, I definitely recommend it, because it has these really lovely illustrations at the top of each page. So this is how it's laid out. It kind of says the 1st of December, there's a little illustration, and then there's like a story, and then it has these really like lovely illustrations in it, like kind of screen cut ones, and I love it so much. And the characters in this book are so wonderful and just a really lovely mystery, and I just highly recommend it. And I can't really stop rambling about this. Oh, shut up now. And then the book I also have is another kind of one that I read a lot when I was younger, and it is The Night Before Christmas by Clement C. Moore, and this edition has illustrations by Christian Birmingham. And this is a tiny book, like that's how long it is, and it's a very classic Christmas tale about, I think it's told in like rhyme format with rhyming couplets, I think. Yeah, kind of. And it has that iconic starting line of, "'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." And my edition is so lovely and has all these really charming illustrations throughout it. And I just always read this on Christmas Eve with my parents, and it's just a really short story, and I just remember really loving it. So if you can pick this up, and you'll literally fly through it. I think it would take me, like when I was younger, obviously it took me a lot more because I always like to look at the illustrations, but now it'd take me like 15 minutes just to read through quickly. But it is so lovely and I'd highly recommend it. And then there's another book which I guess will feature in a lot of people's Christmassy kind of recommendations, and it is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. I know there's the Harry Xmas to You read along going. So I think Harry Potter are just amazing Christmas movies. I always watch one of the Harry Potter films at Christmas. I think ITV it is, which is, I think isn't it ABC that is the channel that always shows them in December in America. In the UK it's always ITV, and I own them on DVD anyway, so even though I end up sitting down and watching one of them, I just think, why am I watching this? Like, I could be doing other stuff. I own it on DVD, but it's just so festive, and especially because ITV have adverts, but they're just so wonderful. And I think Harry Potter Christmases are the best Christmases. I always love reading about the Weasley Christmases as well, and you can see that this is my very beat up first edition, and it's so crumpled. But yeah, if you haven't picked up Harry Potter, I think Christmas is the perfect time to pick it up. And my last recommendation for this video is going to be something that's not really Christmassy, but I feel is a really perfect wintry mystery read, and it is The Winter Ghosts by Kate Moss. And this is just, I remember, I read this quite a few years ago, but it's such a really dark and haunting, like, kind of ghost story, but it's very wintry, like it takes place in winter in 1928. So it's got a bit of a historical element there. Well, of course it has. It's set in 1928, Annie. And it's about this character called Frederick, and he is struggling a bit after the Great War. And he is in France in this small town, and there's a kind of mystery, and I remember there's kind of ghost elements in it, and it's very haunting, and it's really short as well. It's like, it must be like under 300 pages. Really fabulous. Would really recommend reading it in the winter time. So those are all my Christmas and winter recommendations. I hope you've really enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've got any Christmas recommendations in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!